Welcome to Mikamchi Yisrael. Every strength that Borei Olam gives a person, it comes with a hidden danger. Confidence can actually become arrogance. Compassion can become naivete. Discipline can become rigidity, and leadership can become impulsiveness. This week's Parashat contains a fascinating observation made by the Shiftei Yisrael. When the tribes of Reuven, Gad, and half of Menashe approached Moshe Rabbeinu with a surprising request, they asked to settle on the eastern side of the Jordan River, outside the main boundaries of Eretz Yisrael. Chazal criticized that decision, but the Shiftei Yisrael asks, what did these three tribes have in common? His answer is remarkable. They were all connected to the Bechor, the firstborn. Reuven was the firstborn of Yaakov, Gad was the firstborn of Zilpah, and Menashe was Yosef's firstborn. Now, at first glance, that seems completely unrelated. What does being a firstborn have to do with choosing land? The answer is everything. The Torah gives the Bechor special privileges, a double inheritance, natural leadership, a powerful personality, people who are often blessed with tremendous drive, initiative, and energy. But every gift casts a shadow. When Yaakov Avinu blesses Reuven, he says, Pachaz kamayim, which literally means you were impetuous, you were like a rushing water stream. Water doesn't stop to think, it rushes forth. The Shiftei Yisrael explains that tremendous energy, if left undisciplined, can become impulsiveness. And perhaps that's exactly what happened here. The other Shivatim were willing to wait. They would enter Eretz Yisrael, they would see the entire land, and then they would make a decision. But Reuven, Gad, and half of Menashe saw lush grazing fields and immediately thought, let's take it! The land wasn't necessarily the problem, the rush was. Then the Torah quietly teaches the antidote, bikurim. Imagine spending an entire year working your field, plowing, planting, watering, praying. Finally, the very first fruit appears on the vine. Every instinct tells you, take it! The Torah says, no, leave it. Bring it to the Kohen. Learn to wait. Learn that your very first impulse doesn't always deserve the final decision. Perhaps, says the Shiftei Yisrael, that is why those tribes could not bring bikurim, because bikurim is designed to develop the very midah they struggled with, not to extinguish their fire, but to master it. Sometimes the difference between impulsiveness and divine timing can literally mean the difference between life and death. There is a remarkable story that captures this idea perfectly. Recently, a man purchased an apartment in an old building in Brooklyn, New York. The price was unusually low, and he soon discovered why. The elevator hadn't worked for years. Nobody bothered fixing it. Most of the residents had either moved away or passed on. The building had slowly become forgotten, and months later, he decided, you know what? It's time to sell the apartment. An elevator would dramatically increase its value. And as he stood looking at the broken doors, he suddenly felt this overwhelming urge to fix it. He just couldn't explain why. Have you ever experienced an inexplicable urge to do something, even though you couldn't actually explain it to yourself? Not tomorrow, not next week, today I have to do it now. He called an elevator company and insisted that somebody come immediately, and the dispatcher laughed. An elevator that's been broken for years, you can't wait another day? But strangely, a technician happened to be nearby. That afternoon, he arrived on Avenue M, and they tried opening the elevator from the ground floor. Nothing. The technician said, we'll have to carry all the equipment upstairs to the roof. They climbed all the way to the top floor, and after a few attempts, the heavy doors, finally slid open, and inside there was movement. Something curled tightly in the corner. The technician froze. They stepped a little closer. It wasn't a bundle. It wasn't garbage. It was a little boy, alive and terrified, crying, barely able to understand what had happened. The child had been playing hide and seek on the roof with a friend, and while running across the roof to hide, he accidentally fell deep into the abandoned elevator shaft, landing inside the dark elevator car. He screamed, he pounded on the walls, and nobody heard him. His friend assumed he had gone home, so he too left. His parents, a well-known family in Flatbush, had no reason to worry. Yet, had this apartment owner waited until next week, that little boy may never have been found alive. Yet Borei Olam masterfully and quietly orchestrated every detail. the decision to sell, the sudden urge to fix the elevator, the technician who just happened to be available, everything. Not one moment early and not one moment late. Exactly when it was meant to happen. Today, that little boy grown sits in the Bet Midrash, a well-known yeshiva in Lakewood. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a profound difference between acting quickly and acting impulsively. Impulsiveness is acting because I just can't wait. Purpose is acting because Borei Olam's moment has arrived. Sometimes Borei Olam tells us, wait, like Bikurim, restrain yourself, grow. And sometimes he quietly places a thought into our heart and says, now. The challenge is not becoming slower. The challenge is becoming so connected to Borei Olam that we learn the difference. Because the greatest people are not those who always move fast or those who always move slowly. They're the people who move at the right moment. May Borei Olam help us develop the wisdom to know when to wait, the courage to know when to act, and the humility to realize that both moments, they belong entirely to Him. Shabbat Shalom.